Okay, now we are starting the module 3. This is a bit different compared to module 1 and 2. This is for the coding for the graphical applications, and the scenario is about the grades prototype applications. So we can display the student grade and student profile from this exercise. Now let's open the solutions file as usual, and you need to sign in if necessary, and open your sheet, open module 3 for exercise 1 starter. Okay, so let's take a look on the Xaml file. Typically we go to main window, and we can take a look on the main window.cs, and we, in the previous module, we modify these main window applications. Now before we start, don't forget to build these solutions first, because these solutions will connect all the references, and it will create an exe file. If you don't build it first, sometimes you might get an error, because some of the connections between Xaml file and the CS file is not yet created. Now once it has run, the next thing that you need to do is go to the view folder. Before you go to the view folder, the main Xaml file is where all those view will be related to. Okay, so all this Xaml file will be related to your main view. So your main applications view, how it looks like, okay, will bring you to Logon page, profile, and so on. Now under the view folder, you can take a look on all these view file. Logon page, it will look like this: student profile, student page. So this is how the grade for each teacher, he or she should be able to see the students in his or her class, and can double click the student to see the profile and the grades from here. Now, so we have seen all of those. Now let's go and modify the coding. Now before we modify the coding, don't forget to go to your main window Xaml file. Okay, and from here, as usual, we go to view, task list. Okay, so this is the very first, we need to find number 2, task number 2 first. Okay, so double click the task number 2A. So you need to define the Logon screen, Logon success event handler. So once the student or the teacher log on successfully, he or she should be able to see the list of the students and go to the profile of the students. Now, in the blank line below this, create a public event handler Logon success. Now go to the next 2B. Okay, so task 2B, implement the Logon click event handler for the Logon button. So its logon is being clicked. It will store the sessions. So the role of the user is checked. Is the role a teacher or student? So if teacher true, role student false, because it's written just a boolean. So if the role is student, set the current student property in the global context to a dummy student. So if the user role equal to student, the sessions of the current student, so if the role is equal to student, set the current sessions property in the global context to the dummy student called Eric Graber. And then raise the Logon success event. If Logon success is not null, so if Logon is successful, so it means it's not null. So you will call the Logon success method. Now let's take a look on the Logon Xaml file. So in this Xaml editor, locate the task 2C. Okay, the next thing is since you already created a method called logon click, we are going to associate this logon click with the button itself. So we go to Logon page. If you can't find the task 2C, it might be missed out. What you need to do, just click the button itself, double click it, and it will automatically try to create a method called button click. So in the event of click is equal to, and try to call the method button click, but there's no button click, but we have created a method called logon click. Okay, so this is how you associate a button with the method. Okay, or you can manually type it in. So just simply click the button itself. It will bring you to tagging, the XAML tagging for the button. Okay, so the grid row, the column span, the alignment, and so on. So this one has been set up. Once you create the button, you can create the button simply using the toolbox here. Okay, once you draw it, after you have completed drawing it, all you need to do just change the font size. Where is it located? Is it aligned center, left, right? And last but not least, you can put the event. So in the event of click, it's going to logon click method in your main program. Okay, so this one's done. Now let's do the task 3. 3A. Task 3A, display the logon view and hide the list of student and single student view. So this is to change the visibility. We created just a simple method called go to logon that didn't return anything and doesn't take any value. So all you need to do, just change the visibility. The logon visibility, logon page dot visibility is visible. Students page visibility is collapsed. student profile is also collapse. So a collapse means do not display the element, do not reserve space for it in layout. Now go to 3B. If the logon is successful, you're going to do another method called, let's say, called logon underscore success. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So we are going to create the method called logon success. Once the logon is successful, it will hide the logon page and it will show the main window. And it will refresh the form. Now let's take a look on the main window Xaml file. Locate the 3C. If you can't find the 3C here, the next task is actually to catch the logon success event. So the try catch event handling. So if it detect the logon is successful, what do you want to do? Now find the logon page. There you go. Okay, so once the logon is successful, you want to call the logon success method. I want to call logon success method. Okay, done. That's it. So just to confirm everything is correct. Logon page. The name is logon page. Logon success. And we call the method logon success. Now go to the 4A. So 4A, under the refresh method, we are going to check the user role. So use the switch to check the conditions. So switch the sessions contact user role. If the role is student, you can mention welcome and then put the student name and go to the student profile. If the role is teacher, it goes to the student page. So the student page will display all the students for that particular teachers. Okay, while student profile only show the profile of the current student. Now that's 4A, it's done. 4B. This is where we are going to create the method for the go to student profile. Now you want to hide the student page. If the student page is visible, it will be collapsed and student profile will be visible. and go to refresh. Now display the list of the students. In the go to student page, we list all the students in that class for a particular teacher. So student profile will be hidden if there's any, and student page will be visible. You see the difference? Okay. Now, in the task list window, double click the 4D. Oops. So 4D will display the details for the current student, including the grades for the student. So for a particular student, we are going to display the profile. So under refresh method, this is to initialize the component. Yep. Under the refresh method, we are going to do the comparison. If the name matches with the current session's student, add whatever text is a current student name. Okay. And string literal, the add here represent the string literal. You're going to display this. So if the name matches is successful, so if you're trying to match the name, if the current student match with the name of the profile, it's going to display the first name and the last name. Okay, so the first name here is equal to whatever the match name or the first value, which is first name, and the next value is stored in the variable string called last name. So whatever the value from the first name here will be stored into the student name dot the child element of this particular panel, which is the child element is the properties. It could be first name, last name, date of birth, etc. In this case, we know that this is the first name, this is the last name. And the button back is hidden if the user role is a student. So it cannot go back to the student page because student page can only be viewed by student. But if it is teacher, there is a back button to go back to the student page from your student profile page. It's done. So the next one is handle the click event for a student. So if student click, what do you want to happen? So the main window subscribe to this event and display the view just for a single student. So is the button item click equal to sender? And item click is not null, it means this item is being clicked. Which one, check which student is actually being clicked. So it check the item click dot tag property and it store it in the string called student name. So if it is selected, it means the selections is not null, it means something is being selected. And raise the student selected event. Okay, so pass the sender and the student name. Now, so what is the student selected method? Now, this is the one that we are going to do next. Okay, student selected. Now, student selected is quite straightforward. All the information about the current student or the child, or it means all the properties of the attributes of the current student, okay, is being stored in the sessions, and then call the method go to student profile. Now let's take a look on the Xaml file again. Now we have to take a look on the catch the student selected event and call the student selected event handler. So the exercise is not listed here. All you need to do, find the student page again. Okay. Student page. Okay. Visibility collapse. Okay. So student page. Before the visibility, type student selected. So in the event of student is selected, call the method call student page selected. Yep. Okay, that's it. Now build the solutions. So it's successful and run without debugging. Okay, so now let's take a look for the logging. So in the database, they have the user ID called Valley, and the password is just password PASSW0RT, and then he or she is the teacher, so log on. Notice that I can see the students belong to that particular teacher. So let's take a look on the student profile. Okay, so I click any random student. So this is the student report card, and also what is his report card looks like. Okay, see there's a back button here because I log in as a teacher. Okay, so log off. Once I log off, notice that it goes back to the logon page. Now this time, let's log on as student to test it. So there's a student called Grab. He or she is not teacher. The password is the same. That's it. Logon. Okay. Notice there's no back button. Okay, because we disable it for student profile. If I log in as a student, I can see my own profile. I can't see student page. That's it. Okay. So that's the first exercise for module